Today we're going to change the transmission fluid, filter, and also install this transmission temperature gauge. It's an electric unit from Autometer, and should be pretty straightforward to install. We'll have to drill a hole into the pan and for the temperature sensor to kind of screw into. So it'll be a little fun little challenge for today. Let's get started. Let's just quickly review the parts here. Since the V2500 is the first year of the 4L80E, which is the electronic overdrive transmission, we got the kit from AutoZone. This is a TF301, pretty straightforward kit, and it's just a filter and a pan gasket. It's about $15. And since we're going to be dropping the pan and filling it, it's about 7.5 quarts. So I got 8 quarts here of the Castrol synthetic Dextron 6, which is backwards compatible to the Dextron 3, which is what the trucks came with from the factory. A couple cans of brake cleaner. We'll use this to clean the pan, and of course drain pan over there to empty out from the main pan. So this is just the overview of the parts here we'll be using here. Okay, here we are underneath the truck, and this is the 17 bolt pan with the 10mm socket. We'll undo these and we'll go around to all the edge of the transmission here and undo them. Probably do is just unloosen up, hand loosen them up a little bit, and then we'll undo the front ones here and let the pan come down and get that first wave of transmission oil out, and then we'll undo the rest here and fully drop the pan. Here's another angle of the bolts and the drive shaft right here. Alright, been going around and doing these pan bolts, but because of the front drive shaft here, I had to go ahead and drop down a little shorter socket to get in here. Okay, I only got 2 bolts holding this thing up right now. This one right here, and then the adjacent corner. There's one right here. Well, I can't really see it. My transfer case mounts in the way, but this is the pan is straddling those 2 bolts, so I'm gonna try to ease it down and see if I can get it down right now. Okay, I got the pan dropped and kind of spilled a little bit on the ground here. Kind of misjudged the remaining amount of fluid and kind of overspilled a little bit, but there's the transmission right there. Still got some things. Going to let it drain out a little bit longer as I prepare the pan for the temperature sensor. Still need to decide what point will I put the sensor in. Might put it in this general area of the pan, but I guess we'll see here in a minute. Went ahead and empty out the pan, checked over all my bolts. Noticed that one of the bolts is not like the others. I think the previous owner lost a bolt and had to substitute. Same thread, pitch and everything, so it's just a different head. And everything looked good inside the pan. Got, some metal shavings the magnet picked up. So we use our can of brake clean here, and we'll pull this gasket off. We'll use a little scraper and get some of that glue off. But everything's all good, looking pretty good. And then we'll get the pan cleaned up, and then we'll figure out what point we're going to mount that, drill the hole for the temperature sensor. Get the pan up in here, and I think what we're going to do is mount the sensor over in this general area in the pan right here. It's out of the way of the filter. You got your it's hard to see, but you got your selector, gear selector right there. A bunch of other electronics on this other side here, so maybe best we're gonna do the sensor this general area. So that may be the driver's rear side of the pan. So that's where we'll put it. Alright, since we're about ready to mount this back up, we need to go ahead and take the old filter off. And I'll see if I can do this by on the camera too. But there's a little tube right here that holds it on. So it should just be a matter of just taking this down. Yeah. And of course I didn't have the pan ready. So I got a little fluid everywhere. But you can have a little bit more drain out of there. And there's also a little brass ring right here that the new kit comes with. So I recommend changing that too. Get a little screwdriver and that just pops right out. I did a little scribe here. And by using a little punch, you can go ahead and punch a little mark in the pan. Hopefully it'll give you enough indentation for the drill bit to start, so you don't, when you drill, you don't have your drill bit all going all around the place here. You just punch a little mark, deep enough indent for the drill bit to stay, and then we'll get a drill bit out and drill it. Alright, I got my hole drilled for the sensor, and here's the little sensor adapter. We'll use that to get the sensor mounted up through the pan here. So we're gonna go back through and clean up this pan one more time. Get remaining this previous gasket sealer, and then we'll get it mounted back up. So we'll take out the little temperature sensor probe out from the gauge, and we'll go ahead and get that ready to go onto this, go right in there. With your gasket on your pan, you can kind of see it right here. It's just a black gasket. And then there's our new sensor. And go ahead and get it onto the transmission best you can. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple bolts just in each of the corners, just to hold it up there. And then I'll probably finger tight the rest of the bolts and then go through with the torque wrench. I don't know what this foot-pounds is. I think it's like 20 foot-pounds maybe. Of course, for a how-to video I should already know that, but I don't. I have to look it up. We'll do that here in a minute. First thing is to get the pan on there and just finger tight all the 17 bolts. Alright, that truck running, but I went ahead and put in 6 quarts just to check for any leaks. Still needs probably another quart and a half or so. So far, no leaks at all. To the other side here. port and check the level. Okay, now I'm running the wire for the temperature sensor. It's going to run down to the transmission, and I just poked a hole through a existing little, it was a black grommet before, and then I sealed it with some gasket sealer, blue RTV. So I just poked a hole through that. I'm going to go ahead and tidy this up. I'm probably not going to mount the gauge just yet. I'm going to get everything staged and make sure it all works before actually mounting it. Okay, here's that yellow wire that was up from the engine compartment, and I put a little end on it, and it's connected up now to the sensor. So we'll go ahead and get this wire out of the way so it doesn't interfere with anything, and then we'll go plug up the sensor. Go plug the gauge. Okay, let's take a quick look at the instructions here. Our yellow wire looks like it's going to connect up to the S on the back of the gauge. It's for a sender. We'll need to have a switch ignition. Switched ignition, and then a ground, and then we'll test out here. Well, I realize I don't have the right fuse tap to connect up to my fuse panel, so I'm going to I just have a temporary fuse line into my cigarette lighter. So here is the Autometer gauge for the trans. It's just on a generic little mount. I probably will mount it probably somewhere near the brake controller, maybe. Not sure. But we'll put it up here for right now to get the truck started, and then we'll get it warmed up and make sure it gives a reading. All right, we're about to go ready for a test drive. I'm just gonna do one more check around here, make sure there's no leaks. We got some burn off from the exhaust, but everything looks pretty good. No leaks at all. And so we'll come around to this other side real quick. Make sure we're okay. Yep. So we'll go for a test drive. See that gauge get warmed up. All right. Did about 10 to 15 minutes of test driving here. Let's see what the gauge is at. Okay, it's doing some reading. So that's good. Don't really know if it's completely accurate. I would say it's going to be pretty good. So let's just do a quick review of the pan. Let's get the camera right here. Looks good. So this is it. So the Autometer trans temp gauge is working, and did the transmission oil pan and filter change, and that's it. I'm done.